Hello, you guys. Welcome, welcome. I am super excited to be here today with you. We have got an amazing surprise, a big surprise actually. Our Unstoppable Success podcast has officially gone live on Apple, and I am absolutely thrilled. This has been a long time coming, and I'm also kind of in shock that it's gone live a week early. And I wanted to share with you, obviously be here and celebrate with you and get you to go listen and learn, and also teach you my 5 steps to dealing with surprises and how to turn them into wins, because life is always going to throw curveballs at us, and there's always going to be unexpected things that we have to deal with and we have to show up for in life and business. So I thought we can turn this into a teaching as always. Thank you so much for being here, guys. You'll see in the comments, we've got the link. We're running a giveaway over the next few days and today, which I'm really excited to share with you. We have launched the podcast and we are giving away some epic prizes. So what I want you to do is I want you to click the link that we've put into the comments and go listen to the podcast. You can enter, you can win an iPad. We're giving away one of these amazing Blue Yeti mics. I feel like when I started as an entrepreneur, I saw everyone having one of these and I could never afford one and I never knew how to use one. So now I have one and I'm really excited to be giving one away for you guys as well. So the Unstoppable Success podcast is something that I have been working on and wanted to share with you for a long, long time. And I have so much mad respect for you guys with podcasts, because it is super nerve-wracking to do this. Obviously you've run like a multi-million-dollar business for a while now. And when it comes to sitting in your closet, which is where I've recorded all of these podcasts, when it comes to sitting in your closet, recording and putting your voice out there, it like brings up so much stuff. I'm literally like shaking right now. So I'm really thrilled to share this with you. We're diving into all topics from digital marketing, how you can make money online, how you can use positive psychology to fuel your success. We're talking about how you can set up digital marketing strategies, how you can run amazing launches, how you can make 6 figures in a year, in a month, in a day, all of things. I'm totally open as well for ideas that you've got, topics that you'd love to hear. So we're going to be hanging out here today. I am going to be inviting a few of you up and answering any questions that you've got. I'm also going to be bringing in some of my amazing friends. I'm going to be introducing my friend Anna to you as well, who helped me to bring this podcast to life. And really my vision for this podcast, you guys, like my vision is to be able to share this message of unstoppable success with millions of people all around the world. So I'm asking for your help today for me to be able to help more people and really create the impact that I desire to create in this world, by going on and entering the giveaway, by reviewing the podcast, and by sharing it with someone that you feel like it could help as well. It's so good to see so many faces on here. Donna and Amy, Erin, Catherine, Martin, Caroline, Sandy. Thank you for being here. It's amazing to see you all. Super amazing. So I want to run you through, like I'm a teacher, so I'm always going to teach as well as celebrate. And I want to run you through like a 5-step process that you can use when life throws you a curveball. So we had like multiple meetings with our team about launching the podcast and how it's going to go, and here's the plan, and we've got everything figured out and everything's in alignment. We've got deadlines and these deadlines are going to be met, and here's everything that we want to have laid out and mapped out. And we're kind of worried, like what happens if actually the podcast goes live late and we've promised we're going to deliver on this time and then we run over, and actually the opposite has happened and Apple have approved the podcast in super fast time. So they're literally unstoppable on their approvals. And it's meant that we have had to rally and get everything together and just go for it. And I think that's such an amazing opportunity for us all to realize like how we can use these times to commit to showing up in our businesses and commit to showing up in our lives, because you never know what it is that life is going to throw at you. So when life serves you a curveball, here's my 5-step system that you can use to help you move through it with ease and grace and joy. So the first thing I want you to do, so if something unexpected happens, whether it's a surprise and it's a really good thing and it means that you've got an opportunity to do something, but it might make you feel a little bit scared, or whether it's something unexpected that feels really bad and feels really gnarly, the first thing I want you to do is say thank you. Okay, whether it is a good thing or a bad thing, it's always serving your growth. So when I heard the news and I got the email from Apple, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then all of the fear set in. I'm like, yeah, but what if the things aren't ready? Like, what if this, what if that? All of these things came up, and that's totally, totally normal. Like, your mind is going to do that to you. So say thank you first, drop into gratitude. Like, I am so, so grateful to have the opportunity to share so many amazing lessons from growing an online business online businesses over the last 11 years, and what that really looks like behind the scenes, and sharing with you some of the latest strategies and the latest tools to be able to help and support you. So I feel very, very blessed to be in a position to be able to do that and to get this amazing free value and free content out to support so many people. So I'm definitely saying thank you for that opportunity. And I invite you to say thank you for the curveballs and the changes and the surprises and the things that pop up that might feel stressful at the start. I promise you they are serving your growth. I bet for a lot of you, when you look back and you check in with the things that have really helped you to grow, it's often been the things that have given you a shock or they've commanded you to rise to a higher level. I've just seen so many of you saying hi. Hi, Jenna. Hi, Shelley. Hi, Laura. It's amazing to have you here. Amazing to be here together in this celebration. So what we're asking everyone to do today is we are humbly asking for your support. I would love for you to listen to the new podcast. I'd love for you to enter the giveaway. We are sharing some epic prizes for you. The link is in the comments for you as well. So really, really thrilled for that. The second thing, so 5-step system when life throws you a curveball. The second thing is I want you to set an intention. So if you're going into something that feels challenging or feels like, right, okay, I've got to raise my game here, or I'm really nervous because I don't know what this is going to be like, first of all, say thank you. Second of all, set an intention. So if you don't set an intention, you're kind of like going into the wilderness and there's no real clear direction or focus. So I want you to set the intention. So for me, this came down in this particular experience, which I'm using as an example to illustrate how you can navigate these types of processes for yourself. In this particular example, I came back to my mission. I came back to my purpose, my why reason. Why do I do this work? Why is it that I do what I do? And how can I get clearer and more committed to that purpose and allow that purpose and that mission to drive and fuel me through this process for these next coming days, weeks, months, because this is really never ending. When you launch a podcast, it's like, right, I'm in this for life. We're doing it, okay? So I got the surprise. I'm on the adventure. It's happening now. And for me, this is an opportunity to drop further into service. It's an opportunity to grow our community and be able to help more people through the things that we are sharing and doing. So I'm really, really thrilled to be able to connect more powerfully with that why reason. Maggie, I've just seen you on here. So here we go. Here's a lesson. First of all, I did say that I was going to go live on Instagram. I haven't even hooked my Instagram up. So we're very much behind the scenes today, you guys, and show them what it's really like. I'm like, do I even know how to go live on Instagram anymore? So we're going to hook Instagram up behind here, and I'll show you around my office setup if you want, you guys, later on. and I can show you exactly how I have things set up, exactly the cameras and things that I use. I can show you around this brand new home in Beverly Hills as well. We only moved in here 4 weeks ago. So I can totally show you around as well. So I'm going to press go on Instagram. And this is for all of you who are like, how do I go live across multiple places? How do I have to go live on one platform and repurpose it and share it to another platform? No, you don't. Literally today, I'm adopting the motto that done is better than perfect. Okay. So this is something that all of us can learn from and can do more in our lives and businesses. It doesn't always have to be polished, perfect, exactly the way that you wanted it. There's a lot of growth and learning in just doing it and getting it done. So I'm going to hit live on Instagram. Hey, you guys who've just joined us on Instagram. So we are celebrating today the launch of the Unstoppable Success podcast. I am so thrilled to be here. We're also announcing our giveaway. So we're giving away some amazing, amazing prizes. We are sharing and giving you the opportunity to win not just 5 Amazon vouchers, but we're also giving you the opportunity to win iPads. We are giving you the opportunity to win Blue Yeti mics, Bose noise cancelling headphones, all things that I use in my life and business all of the time. And I'm asking for your help. I'm like super nervous, you guys. So I'm going live across Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube right now to share and celebrate the launch of this epic podcast, which has been a long time coming, you guys. So the Unstoppable Success podcast has been created with the intention to help and support business owners, coaches, you guys who are really looking to create unstoppable success within yourselves and your businesses. We've created this podcast to share amazing tools, tactics, tips, strategies, stories, all of the things so that you can go and put these lessons into action in your life and business to create positive change. It's my life's work. It's my big mission and purpose. And I'm super, super excited. I'm literally going to cry. God, that didn't take long, did it? So I'm really, really thrilled that you're here with us today. We are going to be hanging out for some time. I'm going to be doing some teaching. Dodger's just jumped up to say hello. His famous dog. Here we go. So I'm going to be teaching you. I'm just running through my 5 steps for success when life throws you a curveball. So the first thing that I want you to do when things change and you're invited to step into a new situation or scenario that may or may not feel exciting, it might feel scary. First thing I want you to do is to say thank you. Hi, Kat. It's amazing to see you. First thing I want you to do is say thank you. The second thing I want you to do is set the intention. So be intentional about your purpose, about the thing that you want to create as a result, or your why reason behind why you're actually doing something. So the example that I'm giving is with the podcast. It's actually going live a week early. And I had the opportunity, and I was speaking with Anna, who's my amazing podcast manager and creator. She's just epic. You're going to meet her in a few minutes. I'm kind of doing this dance between do we share it, do we go for it, or do we wait? Like, do I hide? Do I hide and just keep quiet on it? And I really got intentional about why I'm doing this and why I'm sharing it. And my mission and purpose is to really get this work out to the world and be able to help so many more people. So say thank you first, set the intention. Number 3 for me in whether it's a example like this in business, or if it's something in your personal life, step number 3 for me is really committing to sharing your journey. So when I look back at some of the most beautiful moments that I've had with friends, for example, it's been when I've been struggling with something, or I've needed to ask for help, or I've shared really vulnerably and they have showed up and supported me with no judgment. And that's felt really, really good. So step number 3 for me is really committing to being honest and sharing your journey, and realizing that there's always a place. So when you experience a challenge or a change or a surprise or an up level that might feel sticky or hard at the start, there's always an opportunity within that for number 1, you to learn and grow, And number 2, for other people to learn and grow as well. So by you sharing those moments of celebration or struggle, you can help so many more people. So that's number 3. Number 4 is make any practical changes that you need to make. So one of the things that I teach in my book, Now Is Your Chance, is that like you can't control everything. So you literally can't control everything. So I say like choose to figure out what parts of a scenario you do have control over and let go of the things that you can't control. So for step number 4, have chosen to do exactly what I can with the tools and the resources that I have available in this time. And you guys can do the same thing too. So I want you to make any practical changes and take control of the parts of the situation that you are experiencing that you can control, because we can't control everything. I can't control when Apple puts my podcast live, but what I can control is how I show up, what I say yes to, how I work through this process, how I realign with my intention, how I realign with my why reason, how I get clearer and lean further into my mission. And then number 5, you guys, when life throws you a curveball, sometimes you just have to go for it and literally say, fuck it. Like, this is what I'm born to do. Let's do it. Let's go for it and lean further in. So the 5-step system that I want to share with you, first of all, say thank you. Secondly, set the intention. Number 3, commit to being honest and sharing. Understand that you're growing and you can help other people learn and grow too. Number 4, make any practical changes that you need to make and take control of the parts that you can control. And then number 5, just go for it. So Jenna, I know you've shared that you love number 3 out of that 5-step process. Which step of the process stood out for you guys? What was your biggest one that you can take away? Sometimes you don't need to take away the full 5. There might just be one thing from a learning or a lesson or a teaching that you can take away that means that you can put something into action the next time life throws you a curveball. So we are celebrating the launch of the Unstoppable Success podcast today. I've got a ton of stuff going on today. I just literally dived straight on here. I've got my documentary film crew coming over later, so hopefully we'll still be here live and I can show you a little bit of the behind the scenes of filming the documentary. So we're doing 2 documentaries this year. Actually, we're doing one which focuses more on my story and walks you through like the journey of our business and how we're helping people through our masterminds and our coaching programs. And we're also doing another documentary which is more about the coaching industry in general, and that'll be available like on Amazon Video and everything like that. So loads of exciting stuff happening, and super excited for Jake to be coming over later on. I can show you behind the scenes of that. So just checking in with some of your comments and your questions. Oh, Erin, thank you so much for leaving a review. So when you guys have left your reviews on Apple, just screenshot and you can send them to me using the giveaway page. So the giveaway page link is in the comments for you. And when you dive onto that page, you're going to be able to get the link to go to the podcast, to leave a review, screenshot the review, and then you can upload that onto the form there, and we can enter you into the prize draw, which will be announced next week, the week after, Monday the 19th. I love it. Thanks for all of your amazing comments. Erin saying, let me know if I can support the other women on this stream. Together we thrive. Yes, absolutely. Like, I'm sure so many of you have got things going on, podcasts, you've got launches happening, you've got really exciting stuff. I'd love to know what's exciting for you guys right now. What is it? Oh, Denise, you've been listening. Amazing. So good. So good. The Germany one isn't approved and published yet. Thank you so much. And you can, yes, definitely check again. I appreciate that. Thank you for letting me know. We've got like so many of you guys in Germany as well. That's one of the languages that Now Is Your Chance book got translated into. So I'm super excited to be able to support all of you guys over there. I have not translated my podcast into German though, that's for sure. I'm not that unstoppable. Thank you guys. We're going to get a few of you on later on, and we'll answer some questions, and I'm going to celebrate some of our amazing friends, and we'll do some Q&A and stuff as we go. For now, I'm going to introduce you to someone who's really, really special. She's been hanging out in the green room today. She's also been helping me navigate through a ton of the questions that I've had. And I think one thing that we all get to acknowledge is that none of us know what's going on in each other's lives and businesses other than the tiny little glimpse that you share on social media. And there's so much that I know you guys are doing behind the scenes to run successful families, to run successful businesses, to run successful social media, to run successful teams, and then show up and like give the value online and show up on social media. So I just really want to acknowledge you for all of the hard work that you're putting in to make your positive change in your lives. I know it doesn't come easy, and I appreciate all of the work that you're doing for yourselves and for your visions, for your missions, for your families, for your businesses and communities too. So I have got a dream team supporting me. I'm going to bring Anna Parker Naples into the stream right now. Hi, Anna. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. I've just tried to send a request to your Instagram as well. See if we can really get flashy with this.
Oh, you're so good.
Oh, it didn't go. Hold on. Let's try again.
It did go. I've just seen it. I've just approved it. Hopefully it's going to bring it in.
It's thrown me out. Let's try again. That didn't work.
See, this is what you get, guys, when you work with a pro team. I'm like up leveling all the time.
No,
it showed up before, but it's not showing up yet again. I was laughing with Mark this morning. I'm like, you've got to remember, like Mark on our team who you met. I'm like, Mark, you've got to remember that I'm like the basic bitch here. And I'm like trying to do my best with everything. He's like, don't worry, you're good.
Yeah, that's not happening. I can't join you. It's not letting me.
I wonder if I can invite you, or do you have to request on Instagram?
If you can see me in there, you might be able to. Technology, it's all good fun. And that's exactly what. No.
I don't think so. Maybe if you log out of Instagram and log back in, I'll be able to find you.
Go back out again. So we, as Nick was saying, we were all set to do a big podcast push next week, and then the podcast has gone live, and so we had almost everything in play, but with podcasting there's this kind of unique window of opportunity. So we were in two minds. Do we wait till everything is 100% perfect, or do we just take that action now? So right, I'm coming back into Instagram. Let me see if I can you see me? It's not letting me send one.
That's so weird.
Not meant to be.
It's not showing you on Instagram at the minute. I'm going to light a little candle. I've got my favorite candle here, these enlightened candles.
No, there's no way I'm coming into your Instagram today. I'll just have to talk really loud so that it picks up on your phone.
Okay, amazing. I've pinned you up as well.
So Nick, I'm going to ask you the questions people probably want to know.
Ooh, okay.
How are you feeling about actually getting this out there? Because you know, everyone knows you're a legend at coaching, but actually when you bring something like this out into the world in a different medium, how does that feel?
It's very nerve-wracking, and I think like I hadn't really anticipated how nerve-wracking it was. I know during the actual production phase of the podcast, like of the recording and everything like that, you said like make sure you get these done, the podcast episodes, you get them done like ahead of time, like before the deadline, because things can come up. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, Anna. And then as I got closer to the deadline, I'm like, ooh, am I getting a sore throat? Like, and you'd said that to me. I'm like, what are you going on about? And then I'm like, I'm really busy. I've got this going on. So it was a real adventure in just being in the process and just acknowledging the thoughts and the feelings that come up during that. Anytime we stretch ourselves, your mind will play tricks on you. And it was just like when I wrote my book. like things were coming up for me and they were like, is this even interesting? Is this valuable? And like I've helped women coaches make more than $22 million over the last 5 years. So I'm like going back to like, right, what evidence have I got that this is interesting and that this stuff works? So I really had to coach myself through the process. And now, like having that big surprise yesterday, it was like, I mean, it's amazing because I was thinking it was going to go the other way, and I was thinking, right, next week I'm going to have all of my coaching calls, and how am I going to manage this when the podcast goes live? But now, like Fridays for me are much more free, so I've been able to like come on here, just make it happen, make it work. So what, having like a physical response.
Yes, so to put that in context, normally podcasts can go live quite quickly in Spotify and Stitcher and Google, but it can take a little while in Apple. And that's the place where at the moment they still hold the market share of the podcasting space. And normally it can take anything between 24 hours to even a week and sometimes beyond for your show to go live. So I've been saying to Nick all the way along that we'll get everything in place, but next week we're going to have some wiggle room. We'll hope it's ready by Monday. We hope it's ready by Tuesday, but there's no guarantee. And then we saw last night that it had already gone live. So then we were thinking, well, what do we do? Do we sit and wait, or do we just go for it? So this is us just going for it and doing what needs to be done. So you talked a little bit there about, the adrenaline, how you're feeling. Tell us a bit about that. What's that all about?
Well, it's like a stretching out of your comfort zone thing, isn't it? And sometimes when you get the thing that you want, it can do funny things to you. So obviously I've been so excited for so long and looking forward to it. It's a positive psychology thing as well. Like anticipating something actually brings you a lot of joy. And then when we get the thing that we've been focused on and we've been moving towards for so long, like the invitation is to get really, really like present within the moment. And this is why a lot of people experience this like hedonic treadmill of driving towards a goal or going to create success. And then once you've got it, being like, oh, like what now? So it's like I've got into that moment that I've been hoping for and like waiting for so long. And it's just brought up all of these nerves. It's like before you go on stage, like before you go on stage to talk to an audience, it's like gulp. Okay, got to do this now. But I'm just really grateful to be able to be super present with you and with you all today, and really enjoy these moments because it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting for you to share that adrenaline and what's kind of sitting behind that, because one of the things you said to me is we launch podcasts all the time. We have one kind of going out most weeks, and you said you must just constantly be high and low, and I think that if you don't treat your podcast, for any of you out there considering having a podcast, if you don't treat it like it matters, like you would for a product or a service, you're missing an amazing opportunity. And one, to increase your audience, but two, to get your friends, your fans, your followers, your family to give you help and support and love and feedback. And actually, I think if you get a podcast or a book launch right, you get so much validation and life affirming and business and mission affirming good stuff back at you that it's really powerful. So often in podcast launches, people get very emotional. You're in like hour one. What you do next Friday, when you've had all that love, you've had amazing reviews. Yes, you're incentivizing them with an incredible giveaway, but people aren't going to write stuff that isn't true. That's the other thing. So it's going to be in for a ride. I cannot wait to see how this does across Apple and Spotify and what have you. So
I'm so excited. I just flipped the camera on Instagram just to show this setup that we've got here, like behind the scenes, like lights and mics and how this setup looks, and to show Anna on the screen. So I know you guys on Instagram have been hearing her, but you haven't been able to see her on the live stream. Hi.
There's a delay, but what I think I also want to talk about is the fact that with this podcast, we made a decision that we wanted it to really pop. And I don't think anyone who sees your usual branding can notice that we've done something a little bit out there.
Yes.
So talk to me about your thoughts behind that.
Well, I love it and it feels really good. Like people always make fun of me because they're like, Nick, you always wear like the same clothes. Everything's like the same. And there's a reason for that. It's because I like literally don't want to have to think about what I'm wearing on a day-to-day basis. So everything's like black on black on black on black, super simplified. And like, this is such a new adventure for me that I wanted to really create something that stood out and was symbolic and like signified this shift in like the intention to create a bigger impact and get the message out further and wider. So we decided to, as well as our normal like black and pink, we decided to include this like bright like neon green into all of the like imagery for this. Do you like it, Anna?
I love it. And I think, you know, one of the things we always look at is how can we get you to look like you fit in your category, but also to stand out. And there's no one else using something quite so bold. And I think it really works. It also makes you look like some kick-ass superhero.
Yeah. I'm down for that. Amazing. I'm down to be a superhero.
Yep, we are. So then, have you actually had a chance to listen to it? Obviously, you know what you recorded. Have you listened in Apple yourself yet? Have you got?
I've listened to the trailer. So I did that last night, and I just literally like, it's so good how it's came out because it's really interesting because I've done thousands and thousands of hours of coaching now and told like the same stories so many times and show up and coach more than 100 businesses live every week and can get any question asked at any time. So there's so much of a like variety of topics that I've covered over the years, but to drill it down to be so specific as like in this 10-minute episode, I'm going to be teaching you this. It's been amazing to like get the clarity on the communication around that and share the real specific tactics and tools. So it sounds really good. Loving the intro, loving all of that. I'd love your feedback as well, guys, when you go and listen to it. I know a lot of you are saying in the comments that you love the green. I know some people hate it and that's okay. I love it and it feels really good for me. I'm going to show you around this new house. If it's exciting for you guys, you'll have to let me know if you want to do that later on. I can show you around this house and I'll show you my closet and you'll laugh. Because it's like black, 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 black. And now it's got like a hint of neon green.
So Nick, I just want to just take an opportunity to just anyone watching, there's a few things we want you to do. So yes, we want you to click that giveaway link and go and listen on Apple and screenshot your review. But there's a few other bits. When you screenshot your review, you can then submit it to enter Nick's amazing giveaway, which I'll come back to in a moment. But there is predominantly we need activity on Apple. So if you are an Android user, you will be directed to Spotify, so you can follow and listen there, which is great. We'd love you to do that. But if you're an Android user, you can still go and rate and review Nick's show over on a desktop if you follow this link on your desktop. Now, when you're there, you're able then to download, play through. You got to listen all the way through. That really helps Nick in the charts. We want you to scroll down so you can leave a 5-star rating. And a bit of a handy tip on this one is if you're on your phone, you want to not kind of scroll across all of the 5 stars. You want to hit the 5th one. Otherwise, sometimes it can register as a lower star, which I'm sure you don't want to give Nick a 1-star rating. And then there is an icon that says write a review. So you can click on that and you only need to write a line or two and then screenshot it. That's important for the competition. And then hit submit and let Nick know that you are entering by then clicking the other link on the page that she's given you. Those steps are really important for helping Nick's show rise through the charts over the next few days. But the more important thing than that is that there are many people who don't know Nick, if you can believe that, who don't know about her work. And the further we can get in the charts for her show, the more people can find her work. And if you think about that individual who you know, they thought about starting a coaching business. Maybe they did a training qualification, they became a coach, but they have no idea that it's not acceptable to be charging £30 per hour for one client who comes to your home office. Nick can change their life. So for the person who really needs to hear what she's got to say, the more that you can support today and go and share this with your audience as well, the better results that Nick's going to get and the more ears she's going to reach. So just wanted to share that so you're really clear. That's why it matters. So obviously, to incentivize you, Nick has got an incredible giveaway. I've not seen as big a giveaway on a podcast launch before.
Oh, really?
So, no, yeah, but you don't like to do things for halves. It's actually your first giveaway as well, isn't it?
My first ever giveaway. It's the first time that we've ever done anything like this. So I wanted to do an awesome one for you guys. And we really thought about what it is that's going to support you and some of the tools that I'm using every day in my life and business, whether it's the Bose noise cancelling headphones when like I'm on a flight or when I'm trying to focus on work and I'm putting like binaural beats in the background. I'm using these things and they're integrated within my day. So I want you guys to have these tools too, so that you can use them in your lives and businesses to create unstoppable success. So that's why we put together this amazing package like of giveaways and obviously Amazon vouchers. Who doesn't love an Amazon voucher? So even if you don't get the main prize, we've got like loads of like runner-up prizes as well. So it's super exciting. There's going to be something in there. And we're giving away a free Unstoppable Success bundle to every single person who enters. So whether you get the main prize, the runner-up prize, everybody's getting a free gift from me.
Yeah, but although that prize draw is open for a little while, we actually need you to take action today. At least if you can't do it today, listen very first thing tomorrow morning, because we need this now that it's dropped into iTunes. We need this to climb so that Nick can reach as many people as possible. So actually, Nick, I've got another podcast related question for you. Mm-hmm. So I know that this is not your first podcast. So tell us about your original one and what's different this time.
It's not my first rodeo. So I've always known the power of podcasting. I've always known how good it is to get into the daily lives of people who are really ready to take action in their lives and be supported through these amazing tools and teachings. If you think about what a podcast does and what it offers, like I listen to podcasts when I go out walking, I listen to podcasts when I'm driving, I listen to podcasts when I am cooking. It's something that is so easy just to switch on while you are doing another activity so that you can double up on your productivity and you can learn as you go. So I'm always using podcasts as like this tool to help me like grow and expand and be better. And in my life, I've like noticed like some big shifts that I've had from listening to other people's podcasts. So I knew like really early on, like I have to do this, but I didn't know how to do this. Now, I've always been a person that is like really resourceful and will just give it a whirl. So I started a podcast like right back at the start. And it's like, and Now Is Your Chance podcast. And it was a few interviews with like my friends from Hay House or friends that I had, but it didn't really have like the power of the direction and the intention and purpose. It was more of I know I should do this, so I'm going to do it. And I didn't really do it with any consistency. So now I feel like I'm older and wiser. I've got amazing support and I've got much more, one thing you'll find is the more that you speak your message out, whether that's on a podcast or you're going to guest on other people's podcasts or you are going live on your social media profiles, the more you speak your message out, the clearer and clearer that communication gets. So now I'm 11 years down the line in running businesses and 5 years down the line in this specific business. I'm a lot clearer. I know exactly how I can help people. So it feels like this show is landing at the perfect time to be able to help people, especially after all of the changes we've had in the world. I see that there's been a couple of conversations that I've noticed over the last year or so. I've seen a lot of people who have become scared and they are scared to run a business, or they're scared to sell, or they've kind of focused on security and getting small. And then I've seen another conversation happening where it's been like, the most control that you have is actually investing in yourself. It is getting control through running a business when nobody can tell you what to do, and you're the actual person who is driving that success and that security. So I've seen these two conversations going on, and I feel like the more like we as business owners can help each other and can support each other with ideas and tools and conversations and strategies and tactics, the easier it's going to be for more people to be able to create success. And I totally believe, number one, entrepreneurs are going to change the world. And number two, entrepreneurship is a vehicle for joy, personal power, and unstoppable success.
It's interesting to hear when you talk about that. I remember saying to you that, you know, we do all the audio production stuff. That's kind of my background and things like that. But actually, what I think podcasts are is way more than rocking up in front of the microphone. It's the way you can have that ripple effect in the world by reaching a global audience very quickly, but touching one life at a time. My question to you then, when you think about that one individual who doesn't yet know what you have to teach, who's never encountered you before, and they're in a potentially very challenging part of their life, what is it you most want them to know? What is the emotion, the thing that you're transmuting down the microphone and across the airwaves?
It's that in any moment you have the power to make a positive change. I got asked this question on an interview one time where they said, like, Nick, you've got this book that's about mindset and you run this company that helps people create success, but your book says that you can do it in 30 days. Do you really think it's possible to like change the way that you feel in 30 days? And I said, it's possible to change the way that you feel in a moment. So for me, like, this lifetime is all about equipping ourselves and building like internal resources and building like our sense of self, our personal power, our psychological resources, our spiritual resources. And really the message that I want people to take home is that it's completely possible for you to do this, and it's easier than you think. I want people to get started exactly where they are with the tools that they've got available. These things that I teach are actually really simple. And I think that's one of the beauties of what we've created at Unstoppable Success. It's the compounding effect of these small, simple choices and decisions. It's the compounding effect and the stacking of the simple strategies, layer upon layer upon layer, that then snowballs. And then you look back and you're like, whoa, how far have I come? Like, I used to not feel good every day, now I do. Or I used to not be able to make money, and now I can.
I think that's something, having listened to your earlier podcast, which was years ago now, and you're right at the start, the difference in confidence and clarity in your message from where you were 5-6 years ago, when podcasting wasn't a thing in the way that it is now. The confidence behind the delivery is just so clear. So if any of you haven't yet been able to check out Nick's podcast, do go and have a listen. I've come in live. I finally
You're in twice, but I wonder if the sound's going to overlap now.
Yeah, I was just thinking, what can I do? Might try and put headphones into one of them.
Okay.
That's what I'll do.
Oh, I don't know if it's you that's echoing on me.
It'd be me, but I'll just put headphones into something, then we'll be
okay.
We'll be okay.
Just give me 1 sec as well. Let me have a little look. So I just had my friends Raw Goddess and Koya Webb message me. I'm just going to send them a voice note in real time. Just give me 1 sec.
Okay.
Hi, ladies. So my podcast has literally just gone live. It's like been a massive surprise, and iTunes have released it. early. So I'm actually live on all of the places right now across Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. So I'm not going to be on our Zoom, and I would love if you would come and join me on one of my platforms. I'll send you the StreamYard link, and I'd love for you to log in and just say hi, and we can celebrate together if you are open to it. There we go.
So I seem to have dropped out of the Instagram now.
I can see you on Instagram and I can see you on here. See, this is what it's like, you guys, behind the scenes. It's like you're trying to make everything work. Oh, my friend Mel's just texted me. Hi, Mel.
Hi, Mel.
Watching you. Oh, you know Mel as well, because Mel's launching his amazing podcast. Super excited for that one as well. Mel Abraham, he's got the Affluent Entrepreneur Show, which is so exciting.
Coming soon, 1 month from now.
Shout out to Mel. We'll all be celebrating. Yeah. Those of you who are watching on Instagram, can you just let me know that you can hear me okay? Because I've just turned my sound down so that we can be live across all of the platforms. Hi, you guys. Hi, Joe. Hi, Emma. Hi, Helen. Amazing to see you. Thank you so much for posting your reviews and entering the giveaway, you guys. Appreciate you. Hopefully you'll be a prize winner as well.
Yeah. So these reviews can take a few days to show up. Sometimes up to 3 or 4 days before they come live in Apple. So we're going to be watching and tracking, but that's why it's super important to upload them for Nick so that she can see, so she doesn't feel like her podcast has gone into a vacuum. And feel like that when you're in your cupboard recording.
Yeah, exactly. All of my fears have come true. It was just me in my closet after all. So for the closet is so good though for filming and not filming obviously, but recording the podcast, because you've got your podcasting booth behind you, which is so great for the sound.
Well, actually, this used to be my airing cupboard. This started off as my airing cupboard. Yeah, years ago. We used to just have shelving in here that had all of the towels and the sheets all folded up, but it was the only place in the house. I was in a wheelchair for a long time, which is why I came into the audio field, and it was the only door in the house I could get into with the wheelchair myself, and so we turned this into my little studio. But it started life like you have, just as a place with all our things in that just made it sound good acoustically.
So good. I'm just going to see if I can put my headphones in, because Instagram's saying that the sound is echoing for them. I don't know if this is any better, you guys. Hopefully it will be. I can have headphones in for one, and Emma, you're saying I need a behind the scenes picture of Nick recording in a closet. I'm going to take you in there later on. I'm literally going to show you the inside of my closet and show you where I've made this podcast, because I moved into this house 3 or 4 weeks ago and I've literally just had to make it work. So it's been a great lesson in not having to have everything perfect, and understanding that things aren't going to be perfect. So how can you do the best that you can with the tools you've got available, and literally just getting to it.
Yeah, we've definitely got an echo somewhere. I can hear it, but I can't work out which device it's coming from.
Oh, did you say it sounds fine on Instagram? So that's good. I can't hear an echo, but let us know, guys.
Maybe we're okay. So what do you think then has been the most challenging thing for you about getting this podcast out there? So we've been planning this since probably before Christmas, maybe just after Christmas. We've been talking about it. What's been the most challenging thing about getting it done?
I think honestly, like mapping out the content and getting so specific on each title and topic, and making sure that I'm communicating exactly what it is that I want to communicate in that short amount of time. I feel like that was a challenge in terms of, like, I could sit here and talk for days.
And that is one of the challenges, isn't it? And I think this is what a lot of podcasters do, is that people have so much they want to share, but then they end up rambling and not being clear. And actually, as a listener, that can be, yes, you'll learn things, but it's not very results driven.
I also think that's one of the things that we spoke about when we launched the podcast, and you said, what do you not want it to be like? Now, I'm a total introvert, like I'm an INFJ personality type, which you would never even like guess. And for me, like too much like stimulation or too many conversations or too much like information, it feels very overwhelming. It's very depleting. So I'm not a person that will listen to hours and hours and hours of conversation focused podcasts because I just can't cope with the information overload. So when I created this podcast, like my real intention for it was short, sharp, tactical things that people can take away and put into place in their life and business, like immediately. So bringing that intention through and being mindful of the intention when I was actually recording was something that I just really like, I had to focus on. And I think as well as that, like just the mindset around it, like, as you know, I'm going to make things happen. And our company is results driven, both results driven within my role in the company, for our team, for our clients. It's one of the core values of the business. And it's one of the non-negotiables that I'm really, really committed to. Things get done and we get results. So it was never a case of like, am I going to miss a deadline, or am I not going to do this? Am I not going to show up and perform? But the question still came up inside of me in my mindset. I was like, whoa, this is interesting. It's an experience that is obviously very different for me. And I had to coach myself. So it's
well, you have all the skills. So
yeah, exactly. Thank God for that.
So we're getting some messages saying it's not showing yet. It depends where. Some countries might not have it on Apple yet, but keep going. Any minute now, they could be going out. But so over the next few days, just keep clicking the link and seeing if it's ready in your country. We know it's gone live in the US. It's live in the UK. So everywhere else will kind of have a ripple effect from there on in.
Amazing.
So Nick, then talk us through. Once you've mapped out the titles, the topics, what you want to cover, what then happens for you? Do you have to get yourself into the right headspace, or do you just go for it?
I always get myself into the right headspace before anything that I do. I think it's a really great way to do life and business. So like whenever you are giving and in service and in creation or on a sales call or showing up on social media, like you can either feel your best when you're doing it, or you can feel your worst when you're doing it. For me, why wouldn't you want to get into a peak state before you show up and serve? So I always, before I get on a coaching call, when I start my day, whatever the activity is, I always create like a frame around it. So it's like having I guess it's a daily personal system for success, because like when you're actually recording a podcast, one thing I noticed, and I don't know if people say this or if you notice this when you're doing yours, it makes a difference how you feel. It also makes a difference, like the way that you're sitting and your body language and whether you have a smile on your face. So I'm like the crazy professor in my closet, like smiling away just to myself.
So it makes a huge difference to the energy that you're transmuting. It also makes a difference to the sound of your voice. It's doing all sorts of things. If you're smiling, your articulators are going to work better because your muscles are stretched. I know it gets a bit technical, but my background was in voiceover work, and we could often tell when someone was delivering while they were seated or whether they were stood up, because there's a difference in how they come across. So I mean, you and I have got a lot of energy anyway, but if you're the kind of person who doesn't switch that on easily, if that's not easily accessible for you, you want to make sure that you're sitting upright, that the air's flowing, that your diaphragm's not contracted, because if you're going to all that effort to get your podcast out there and do all the technical stuff, you want to make sure that you are present and you are committed to what you're saying and doing.
Yeah, exactly. Like for me, it's like it also, like a podcast sits there in perpetuity. It's going to be there forever. Yeah. So it's like this added like layer of pressure where you're thinking, once I've put it out there, it's out there and people are going to go back and like listen to it. So it's really good though, but it definitely makes a difference. And even the little things like noticing, like, do I have a bit of a cold on this day? Yeah. Or am I like tired on this day or whatever, and just making sure that you're as like clear as you possibly can be. So it's been really interesting just how much that impacts. What I'm going to do, Anna, I'm just going to we're going to complete our Instagram live right now, because I know some of you are saying that there's some issues with this sound on here. So I'm going to complete Instagram live. I'm going to come back to you. We are live still on Facebook, on my personal page, also on my business page on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. We are live right now on LinkedIn. So if you are watching on Instagram, just dive across to one of those other platforms and you can join in with the live then. I'll also go live again on here on Instagram as well a little bit later on. We're going to be here for a while, so you're not going to miss anything at all. Fantastic. Okay.
Look at you managing all the tech on all the platforms.
So funny. There's so much to do. There we go. The Unstoppable Success podcast is live.
Yeah, and the reviews will be rolling in now. So guys, don't sit and think I'll do it tomorrow. Nick needs help today. So the first episode will take you something like 7 or 8 minutes to listen to, and it's a good one. She throws you right in at the deep end with what's coming. So given that you are someone who is very accustomed to putting content out there, video content, all of those things, what do you think the nerves and the sort of emotional element about getting this podcast out there, what do you think that represents for you?
Do you know what? I think that I'm really committed to creating good things. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm really committed to excellence and mastery and creating value and showing up. So I definitely feel like anytime we put something out into the world, there's self-judgment that comes up. And then there's also like the feeling of judgment from other people. Like, what if people don't like it? What if people think this? Or what if people think that? And that's a theme that I see in women entrepreneurs that really transcends the industry, or it transcends the timeline. It comes up every step of the way. So the more like resourced you can be in dealing with these types of thoughts and feelings when they do come up, the easier it's going to be when you come to launch the thing. I remember when I first launched this business, and what's interesting about a lot of these coaching businesses is they do rely heavily on social media. Mm-hmm. So back in 2015, even though I'd been running businesses for 5 years by that time, I'd kind of been dabbling. And I had it reflected to me that actually, in fact, Nick, you haven't gone out there and gone balls against the wall with your business and your brand. You've been like dipping your toe in. And there's something that's going on for you that means that you aren't creating the impact that you desire, and you aren't helping as many people as you want to help. And for me, I had this fear, Anna, about what will my friends from high school think about me.
Always the people from school. Always the people from school.
They're all amazing as well. They're all like, we're all still friends now, and they're all amazing. So I don't even know why I thought that, but it stopped me in my tracks, and it stopped me from helping people for a while. And it was only when I got over that like visibility thing and got over that self-judgment, because actually what wasn't happening, it wasn't people judging me, it was my self-judgment and the worry about them potentially judging me, which is just ridiculous, because you can get yourself
You're catastrophizing something that's not happened.
Totally.
And even if it had happened, because we all know there's always going to be people who don't love us, who don't love what we do, who don't like us. But should that stop you going out into the world and having that impact and doing your purpose and doing the thing you want to do and helping people? Because let's not forget, yes, we're coaches because we want to help people make more money and have successful businesses. But actually, why? It's because we're helping people to unlock potential. And I love that. I mean, that's very clear in your whole brand, Unstoppable Success. because that's really what success is. It's about letting yourself be the person who is there anyway, without putting the fear factor in. And I think it's really important as female leaders to acknowledge there are still moments where I feel trepidatious about what's going to happen. I do feel adrenaline as a result of what's about to happen, that it isn't just plain sailing. We have the emotions, they still exist, but you forge on anyway. And I love it, because I know with podcast launches, particularly a show that's going to be as successful as this one, just the amount of love you're going to get back. And I think that's a really important thing for those of you who watch Nick and support Nick and love what she does, or are intrigued by what she does, wherever you are kind of on that scale of how well you know her, sharing with her what has come through to you as a result of listening to her podcast is really important. Right, on a personal level, I know that every time we launch a really great show, that it's actually that personal connection that blows you away. So yes, we're going to get you into the charts, we're going to have all that success, but it's actually that feedback about what you have put out into the world that really matters.
It's crazy as well. Like it's like it blows me away every time. Like we've got almost, I can check the exact stats, but we've got almost 5,000 students live in programs right now. And you guys will like send me a DM on Instagram. And sometimes like it's like you create a course or you create a program and you like show up for the coaching calls, and then you go back to your normal life and you're like focused on the next task in your calendar or the next thing that's going on in your day. And then I'll get these messages on like social media, and someone's sharing like, Nick, like I took away what you taught me in that particular lesson or module or podcast or call, and I've done this, this, and this, and this over X amount of time, and here's how it's impacted me, and here's how it's impacted my family. And it's literally like I'll wake up in the morning, I'll have these messages, and I'm like in tears because
it means something.
Yeah, and you guys are going out there and doing the work. So that's where it really counts. It's not just like listening, or it's not just reading the book. It's the implementation and it's the transformation that you guys are creating in your lives because of that too. And it really, really humbles me, because I know that it takes work, and I know that it takes time, and I know that it takes intention, and I know how worth it is. And I know that it's hard as well.
Yeah. And I think that's something you were very clear as we were putting together the concept for the show and what you really wanted it to represent. And you said to me, Anna, I don't want any kind of bullshit show where I'm just saying stuff but not really telling people how to do it. And right from your very first episode, your very first proper episode 1 is, this is how you get to 10K in your coaching business. And you lay it on the line. This is what you're doing. This is what you're not doing. And so many people still have that fear about giving away value for free. What if I give it all away? No one's going to want to work with me. No one's going to want to pay me. My business will tank because I did a podcast and told everyone what they need to do. And it just so isn't true. So isn't true. And what I love is that, like podcasts, like you said yourself, you've listened to shows that have had a big impact on your life. And I think some of that is that personal connection, like that intimate, you're listening while you're running, or you're at the gym, or you're in the shower. I listen all the time in the shower. Mostly that's where my podcast moments happen.
I love it.
So tell me about the like podcasts that have really, or particular episodes where you've gone, oh, I so needed to hear that today. When have those moments happened?
I do think that you're completely right. Just with this theme of like being able to share and celebrate like other people's success too, and being able to share what it is you've learned. And the reason I want to like touch on this before I share my favorite podcasts is because I have noticed such a big difference when I have started to share freely. And I used to be the person that would read a book and would be like, oh my God, this book is amazing. Like, and I'm talking like 10 years ago, this book is amazing. I'm going to keep all of the information to myself because I'm going to be more of an expert if I continue to accumulate the information. And if I go and share with someone, then they might take it from me. So I was in this real like scarcity mindset where I was keeping all of this stuff to myself. And I heard, it was Gabrielle Bernstein years ago, I heard her say, if you want to build a bigger business, then you have to give more value first. You have to give away something for free. But I was still in such a scarcity mindset. And I was thinking, but if I give it away for free, no one's going to pay me. So it was exactly what you said. Yeah. And now what I teach and the way that I do things is figure out what the best thing you have got that you can give away for free is, and go and give that thing away. So I was listening to my clients when they told me, or they asked me, Nick, can you tell me about your journey from 0 to 6 figures? What did you do then with this thing, with this thing, with this thing? Nick, like, what did you do from 6 figures to 7 figures? Nick, what did you do from 7 figures to multi-7 figures? And they were asking real specific. So what I did was I got a table, I created a table, and I literally went through marketing, investments, mindset, team, and I laid it all out in a table. I created a PDF and I put it on my website so that anyone can access it for free. Because I was getting asked for this thing so many times. And when I created it and tested it with my clients, they were like, oh my God, this is total gold. Now I can see the path that's up ahead. Mm-hmm. My one-on-one clients literally download that and they'll dissect it. And they'll say, can you tell me about what you did at this stage? So it's an example of giving a really, really valuable thing for free up front, because then people can see who you are and what you do and how you operate, and they can understand more about how you can help them. One of the disconnects that I see happening in marketing is people like tell their communities who they are and what they can do, but they don't show them. Mm-hmm. So if you're constantly telling and you're like, here's who I am, here's who I help, here's how I can help them, it's like, it's very one-dimensional. If you can give a tool, or you can give a resource, or you can give a client testimonial, or you can give a case study where someone can either experience someone like them who's got a similar result, or when somebody can go and do the work for themselves, and then they can get the hit and they can get this sense of accomplishment for themselves, then they're way more likely to invest in themselves to come and work with you in something that's paid. So,
and we see that all the time with podcasts. Why do you think people want to run podcasts? It's because that valuable information is out there. It's accessible. It's being listened to, and you feel good about the person who's told you all that stuff. You love the host because they told you the things that are going to make a difference in your life.
Exactly.
Exciting. So exciting to see what's going to happen for you.
I used to love listening to, I'm trying to think of some fundamental moments that have come from podcasts. Right back at the start, I would listen to podcasts. Marianne Williamson, I would literally look for anything that she had created. And that was a spin-off from having listened to her book, The Law of Divine Compensation. And when I started this business back in 2015, I did a lot of things wrong and I failed at the first hurdle. And when I failed and I launched my first group coaching program and had one person sign up, I literally was in this place of do I continue to try and run a business, or do I listen to everyone in my life and give up and get a job? So podcasts were a thing that provided a mental and emotional and spiritual scaffolding for me where I could start to feel better more of the time. And I remember I went to see my brother in New Zealand who was living out there, and I stayed with him for a month during this time. And it was the British summertime, but it was winter in New Zealand. So it was freezing. And I would put on my little raincoat. I've got a photo of me. I've got my hair in 2 little pigtails with my hood up and my headphones in. And that was me with my daily commitment to put on a podcast and go and walk for an hour to start to shift the way that I was feeling. So Marianne Williamson, I listen to Gabrielle Bernstein. I now love listening to my friends' podcasts. So I'll literally listen to yours. I'll listen to Erin's. I'll listen to my friend Gina's, my friend Amanda's. Mm-hmm. Anyone who, and for me, the reason that I listen, it'll always be the title. So I'm not a person that will listen to 10 hours of podcast.
You don't want to listen to all of the random chat. You want to get in, you want to get out.
I'm what am I going to get from this one? So I'll choose titles that I feel like are going to like support me in being something different or doing something different. The conversation ones that I do love are like Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
So Ryan, my partner's always listening to those, and he's just got some sick guests on, like people who've been to space or like brain surgeons, and they're always so interesting because they're so expert at what they do.
I've got two moments listening to podcasts way before I knew that I was going to be working in the podcast space. The first was a few years after I had been in a wheelchair and I'd recovered, but I'd actually got to a stage, a mindset and NLP and actually audiobooks rather than podcasts had really helped me with that journey. But I was listening to a podcast. I used to make myself do a 30-minute walk from my front door, round the block and back to my house. Now, at that point, walking was still really uncomfortable, but I did it because I wanted to stretch my boundaries. But what I realized was I'd been doing this half-hour walk for quite a long time, many months. And I was fearful of going beyond. I was fearful of going off the track because what if I was too far away from home and my pelvis gave up and I was injured and then my disability became really prevalent again, and lots of fear. And I was actually listening to Tony Robbins as a guest on a podcast. I don't even know whose show he was on. I'd found it randomly. I went down a kind of hole where I jumped from one podcast to the next. And I heard him say, whatever it is in your life, whatever action it is you're scared of taking, just do it and do it now. Go on, whatever you're doing, just do it now. And the thing that I'd been thinking about was, I need to run. I need to prove to myself my body is actually physically capable of that. So I decided, right, he said it, I'm just going to do it. And so I ran just from where I was to a lamppost, which I must have been running for like 10 seconds. But it was enough for me to go, oh, okay. And I actually came home and I opened a bottle of champagne and I said, my husband was like, what's going on? Have you won a contract or something? And I said, no, I've proved to myself I can break through this barrier. So that was one really amazing story. And what was even better about that, when I launched my second podcast, when I understood about this space, I overtook Tony Robbins on the first day that we launched. And I had that picture, that screenshot of me. I was at number 1 and Tony Robbins at number 2. Was so epically cool.
That's crazy. Congratulations.
And then the other one was Lewis Howes on The School of Greatness, which is another amazing podcast. And he was talking, I was really resistant at the time to exercising. I kind of fall in and out of love with the whole exercise thing. And I did walk my dog for a long time every day, but the whole actually, doing the thing. And I was having lots of success in different areas of my life. And I just won some awards in Hollywood and all stuff was going well. But there was this one area where health-wise, I wasn't feeling great. And he just said on his podcast, if you are the kind of person who wants success in all areas, the thing that matters the most is your body. And if you're not looking after it and you're not eating and you're not treating it right, how can you call yourself successful? And it really spoke to me. It really was exactly the kick up the backside that I needed to just go out there and actually start exercising again. And as a result of that, I then got the courage to start doing like Couch to 5K, which obviously from my other story, that was a real push and breaking through those fears. So for me, podcasts can really catch you in those moments with the right message. You might have heard that message millions of times before, but something about the way it comes through your phone into your headphones in a particular conversation can really just catch you off guard. And then it really has meaning for your life. And for me, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing when we podcast.
It's huge. Like those stories are amazing. I think you also you remember such a specific moment in time, don't you? You're like, I took this one teaching, I went and did this thing, and then here's how I felt because I'd made that change.
Yeah, and I think for anyone thinking about, well, should I podcast? Have I got enough to say? You only need to reach one person with your message for it to touch them in some way, and it make a difference. And yes, we want thousands and hundreds of thousands of downloads. Of course we do. We're business people. We're entrepreneurs. But actually, when you're really clear on your purpose and how you want to affect people and touch people and serve people, then I think actually this medium is really special for that. You can tell I'm passionate about podcasting, right?
You are, and you're literally amazing at what you do, Anna. Like, I feel very grateful, and I just want to acknowledge, like, you've really got your shit together, and you've got an amazing system that you support high-level entrepreneurs with when it comes to getting these podcasts out into the world. You and your team have been an absolute joy to work with. You've made it all really fun and really simple, and you really know your stuff. If I had to go and look for all of the different parts and all of the things to do, it would have taken me a lifetime. And honestly, I never would have got this out into the world. So thank you.
I think it comes down to that thing of, like I said before, any company, any production team could take your podcast, sort your audio out, make it sound amazing, put it out on Apple, right? People can do that. But I always want us to put heart into what we're doing. And I know that when my second podcast launched and it became really successful, I can remember celebrating it so hard that week, but nobody else really understood my achievement. Nobody really got it. It's like when you launch a book, people don't really understand how amazing it is that that's happened. And so I kind of felt, well, if I ever do run a service, if I ever do this to support people, I want them to feel like I'm in the trenches with them, that they have someone holding their hand, that all those silly questions, that all those moments of, oh my God, that they've got somewhere to share that. Because, entrepreneuring can be a bit lonely sometimes when you're having wins and no one else is kind of at the same peak as you. So, we've been in this all the way along.
It's been amazing. And this is just the start as well. Like the adventure, it's going to get so much more like exciting as we go, because there's so many places that we can take it. I feel like doing these first few episodes is like, I wanted to answer the main questions that I hear from our community about what it is they really want and need, and just give the support and the information on those things first. And there's 11 years of entrepreneurship. There's 11 years of working in the positive psychology space to dig into. So I'm just so excited for like where we can take this.
And what's good about that as well, so I don't know if people know this, you said earlier podcasts last forever. It's not quite true. At the moment, they reckon that they could be up for decades, but at the moment it's reckoned that every episode you create, that you've keyworded and search engine optimized and done all this stuff, has a value of 7 years. 7 years of content for each episode you put out there. And when you think about how quickly our lives disappear on Facebook and LinkedIn, and when you think about the social media posts that we're churning out and we get through them, well, actually, when you podcast, it suddenly really makes sense for your business.
One thing I love about, I always teach like our masterminders and our students in Unstoppable Success, I always teach like one of the best things that you can do for your business and for your brand is to get out there and actually be a guest on other people's podcasts. So the more you can be seen and the more that you can practice having that conversation and communication of your brand message, it really elevates you, as well as obviously getting you in front of someone else's audience. And like you say, because it sits there for 7 years or forever, you have the opportunity to link to your website or link to your Instagram or link to a free thing that you're giving away. So now you can actually take those listeners on a journey with you where they're able to see what it is that you're sharing. They're like, ooh, I really like the sound of that Anna woman. I'm going to make sure I go and do what she's asking me to do.
Sounds like she loves podcasts.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go and download her free thing. Cool. Now I'm on a mailing list. I'm going to listen to everything that she said because I've already spent an hour with her on this guest expert podcast. I kind of know her vibe. I know her energy. I know that she's valuable. She gives really good information and insight. So I'm going to continue to follow her over time. Now, the lifetime value of that 1 hour you spend showing up as a guest expert on someone's podcast can literally create such a wealth of like connection, or if you are making sales from it, it can create it's like lifetime value of the client, never mind just the conversation and the connection as well. Such a good opportunity for people.
Well, I agree with that. So that's what we're bringing out. Since we've been running the podcast agency, we've had so many people say, I just want to meet the right podcasters. I want to get in front of the right audiences, but I actually want to have these high level connections where I have the right conversations that make me feel alive. Because when you're on with your right host, even if you've never met them before, the right show for the right audience, for the right message, amazing conversations and connections happen. And often that's where, you find mentors. I mean, that's how I've ended up working with Nick in her mastermind. So I'm in Nick's Elite currently. I invited her on my podcast. I knew we connected. I knew that was something I wanted to explore. I've had people come on who've been my guests that have become really very, very good friends that we've later collaborated with. I've had people. So what's an interesting thing is, very often someone will find you as a guest somewhere on a random podcast. Maybe they listen to that podcast regularly, maybe they don't. But underneath every podcast interview that you give will be all of the other podcasts that you either host or have been a guest on. They literally come up as recommendations in Apple and Spotify. And so that's like a whole bank of resources. So what people tend to do is they'll find you on a podcast, they're intrigued by you, they'll hop to another guest interview if there is one. Then they'll go over to your own show and they will binge the lot. And so people tend to not listen to the most current episode. Say you have we've got nearly 200 episodes at the moment. People tend not to listen to the most current. They'll go a few down, find the first title that appeals to them, listen to a couple of episodes, and then they'll go back to the beginning and listen all the way through. And we see that this just accelerates that discovery call process, because they already know. They've already decided you are the one for them because they've listened to you for hours. It's really powerful.
It makes a big difference. I know Dr. Erin always says that her podcast really works for her. She has so many inquiries from the podcast directly, which is so awesome. We do have it. Obviously, I haven't had a podcast yet, so I'll be curious to see just the impact that we can create on getting more people into our programs so that we can get more students graduating and creating unstoppable success. And we can loop back on the metrics for that. But we've definitely seen from guest expert podcasts that people are watching Mind Valley and they're like, Nick, I saw you on Mind Valley, or Nick, I saw you on this thing and now I'm coming to talk with you. So I definitely agree with that. We also hear it, I think the word is consistency, because we hear as well, I've been following you for 2 years and now I want to work with you. So it's a real invitation for you guys that are watching today to lean into how you can start to build out areas of your businesses as tools to help you be consistent. So whether it's getting consistent on a podcast or showing up daily across your social media platforms and making sure your people have the opportunity to see who you are and to build that real connection and that trust factor so that they can get to know you so much more. I feel like the world's changed a lot, and it used to be that I feel like there wasn't as many people on social media. I feel old saying this, but there didn't used to be so many people on social media, or so many people to follow, or so many people to choose from. Now there's a lot going on. So people are kind of taking the time a little bit more. We have tons of clients who are I just saw you yesterday and I'm going to sign up with you. Cool, let's do it. And we have so many people who are Nick, I've been in your community for all of this time. And I really love the way that you do things. And I really appreciate that thing that you shared, or you showed up and you said that. So people are taking that time and they're really looking for who it is that they feel they resonate with, or who has a similar message, or who has a path or a journey that they want to follow in the footsteps of.
I think that that idea of resonating, we hear about that in coaching over and over, but when it's actually audio, this is an interesting thing. I think we got broken up there, so hopefully I didn't cut you off. But you actually are, you literally feel the sound wave, right? So you are receiving someone's sound waves that they're putting out into the world. And so often we'll talk about, does their language resonate? Does what their message resonate? But when it comes to audio, sometimes someone can just feel like they are on the same wavelength, literally. And you know, that does become a really personal experience. Yeah, I mean, I think for anyone who's listened to a podcast and it's made a difference to them, you'll know what I'm talking about.
It's such a good way to think about it as well. Like, I'm huge on like sound as healing and like utilizing sound to like get into a higher frequency, but I'd never really thought about it as getting on the same wavelength as someone through like sharing and hearing your message. That's huge. It's so true.
And one of the things, so obviously you have your wonderful Geordie Northern girl accent. Is it Geordie? It's Geordie. You are Geordie, but it's probably got an American twang now. But and some people actually get really wrapped up in this. I don't have the right voice. I don't have the right accent. I don't sound like this. I don't sound like that. I can't do a podcast. I don't pronounce all my T's. I'm terrible for dropping my diction. But it actually doesn't matter, because in podcasting, you're not on radio. You're not on a kind of official Radio 1 DJ show. There's not a sound that's right. People will like your show because they connect with you, your pitch, your timbre, your tone, your energy, and will like you because your accent is you and it represents you. And what this is really amazing. So every single voice is completely unique. There are no two voices that are actually technically, scientifically identical. And often the things we don't like about our own sound, other people love. They really connect with it. They get it. It reminds them of something else. It feels familiar to them. And the other big thing that happens for people is that they think that they don't like the sound of their recorded voice. I'm sure you've come across this before. I don't like the sound of my, makes me feel awkward hearing it back. And the reason is that when we hear our own voice, we actually hear it through the resonance of the bones in our face and skull, which is kind of a bit creepy, but that's actually how we hear our own voice. So we do hear it, but we actually experience our own voice through vibration. And so when we hear our recorded voice, obviously we don't have the vibration. So we often sound more high pitched or squeaky or something. But to the rest of the world, that's how they're hearing us anyway.
That's amazing. That is amazing. I've never been one for like watching things back or like listening to things back.
Yeah.
Not because of like, not what I'm going to sneeze, I think. Excuse me.
Excuse you.
Thank you. How funny. Yeah, I've never been one for watching things back, and I just think it's like more of a waste of time than anything else. Like if you're doubling up on recording something and then listening to it back, then you're using double the amount of time. So I always think like, what else could I be doing or creating? How else could I be creating an impact or serving, rather than watching this video back or rather than listening to this podcast back? I'm like, right, trust myself, like here we go, I'm sending it out into the world. Done is better than perfect.
And I think there's an important message there, and I think that comes with experience and confidence. So I think you can learn a lot about going back over old videos or old audios, or even ones you've recently recorded, but is that best use of your time? Sometimes it can be about, well, did I tell that story in the right way? So, for example, I'm a podcast guest often, and sometimes I'll go on and I'll think I might listen to that interview, maybe when it goes live 3 or 4 months down the road, and I'll think, well, could I have told that in a more concise way? Did I go off at a tangent that's not actually valuable? So I don't know. I think there's a balancing act between being hypercritical and taking those learnings so that you can deliver better in the future.
They actually do a lot of that in sports science. So my background, like I spent 10 years as a personal trainer, and then I did my first degree in sports science with psychology. I had a business that coached professional athletes, and my specialism in positive psychology is actually physical activity in the body. So a lot of what I've done has been in this like space of like mental performance. And one of the things the pro athletes will do is they'll take a video of their game and they'll sit as a team and they'll actually dissect what they did and how they could do it better, like down to the tiny, tiny specifics, which is like, it's such a commitment to excellence and mastery. And I definitely get you, like there's a huge benefit in doing that. And for me, it's like, I just want to keep on going.
Yeah, me too. I mean, on the whole, it's not something that I recommend at all, because you're always growing and you're always developing. And if you're constantly looking back and trying to be critical of yourself, where's the value in that? I think it's much bigger, bolder and braver to say, you know what, I did some episodes recently, they weren't quite what I wanted to put out there, and this is why, and I've learned and I've grown. And I really love that about the whole podcasting space, is that particularly if you're doing a weekly or a twice weekly episode, is that you're able to really share from quite a personal experience those highs and lows. And we hear when something has hit someone emotionally, even if they're not right there in the moment of you know, having that emotional feeling about it. You can tell, because actually only 7% of communication is our language, is our words. Well, actually, there's still a huge percentage of that that's coming across in your tone, in your emotion, in the highs, the lows, the resonance of your voice. And I think that's one of the reasons that we really connect. And if you're spending all that time worrying about, did I say it in the right way? Well, you're kind of missing a huge portion of how you communicated what you wanted to communicate.
It's really interesting, isn't it? It's when I compare doing the podcast with doing my audiobook, it feels very different. So when I did the audiobook, I was really, really conscious around like enunciating and like making sure the words were said correctly. And we actually did it. I think we only had to go back probably about 20 times, but I had a production person like in the next booth with me, and he was like, okay, let's do that sentence again. So you literally can't jumble anything. Whereas with a podcast, it's much more conversational, and it's much, it's almost like much lighter, where it doesn't have to be perfect. And sometimes the
imperfection.
Yeah, that's actually the juicy stuff. Because I noticed sometimes when I was recording this podcast, I'd like think of a story that I hadn't thought of when I was like doing the bullet points for it. And I'm like, oh, cool, I've just had this idea, so I'm just going to tell you about this thing. And it just seems like a lot more like natural.
Yeah, so I mean, I've from this very cupboard, I've narrated hundreds of books, and for audiobooks, actually, we use very different microphones. Often they're very different. They pick up different things. We have much more acoustically treated rooms, but also the diction is so important, and not getting it wrong. Something like in Audible, if your recording is something more than 2% incorrect, they won't accept it. So you have to be on it. There's no kind of breaking from that. And I think that's actually quite restrictive. But
yeah, that's crazy.
With podcasting, you have to, you can go wherever. And there is no, I almost feel like it's the ultimate in free speech, because you can say anything. There are podcasts about anything and everything. Every topic you can think of, someone's podcasting on it, without anyone having to check that it's okay or monitor it.
It's actually really good, isn't it? Like when you look at things like human design, like I know there's like human design podcasts, there's sports podcasts, there's like all sorts of things right across the board that allow us to like show up and educate ourselves and to grow. It's just like free information. It gives you so much opportunity to be able to like up level yourself and become unstoppable. So excited right now from everyone being like, oh my god, I can see you, congratulations. Wait, so good.
The charts update later tonight, and obviously we've only
started
posting it.
How do the chart side of things work?
So it's always an unexact science, but they work on how much volume is going through the podcast. And that volume can be lots of different things. That can be listens, downloads, entire playthrough. So not just I've clicked listen, but I have gone through the whole episode. Ratings and reviews. So 5-star ratings and reviews. And just the kind of amount of activity is tracking the amount of activity that goes to all those places. And they never release exactly the thing that makes the difference. And it always does depend on, you know, who else is in launch, what other shows have just been released, what else has been topical. So it's not an exact science, but every activity that your supporters, fans, friends, connections, audience take makes a difference. And what we do is that we're mostly tracking what happens in Apple, because their charts are still there's many more different charts, so we can find out when you charted in which country, which particular category or subcategory you've charted in. It's kind of incredible, whereas there's other places that are checking a kind of amalgamation of movement on Spotify, Apple, Stitcher and Google and Amazon, the kind of main big ones, and then they kind of throw it all together and say these are the top podcasts. But we normally see results quickest in Apple, which is why we throw everybody there.
So I feel like when I launched my book, I literally sat there with like popcorn because it was like watching it climb up the Amazon chart. So it sounds like it's pretty much the same, which is
cool.
It
is similar to that, except that it's really strange. Some days it updates every hour, and some days it only updates every 24 hours. So it's really frustrating as a podcast team because we don't know which day it's going to be. So we kind of end up, I'm constantly checking, and then we get a little bit addicted to checking where all the shows have gone and what they're doing.
So good. So good. I'm really excited.
It's also like, maybe you're a bit young for this, but Sunday night with Bruno Brooks, when you're listening to the top charts and you're recording it off the radio onto a cassette. I mean, you're younger than me, Nick, so maybe you won't remember. And then it feels like you're sort of on top of the pops. It's the closest you're ever going to get to having that #1 single.
I used to love doing that. Like I used to have like my cassette player, and I used to rewind it to do like a mixtape where I used to have like everything cut in and out at the exact right time. Joe's saying in the chat, she's like, I was sat there with you when the book was going live. I know, right? Crazy. Climbing the charts. Thanks.
So cool.
So good. So I'm really excited because we are shooting this documentary today. The team's just like messaging me right now. They're like, it's still good to do this.
We've got so much going on today. So much good stuff.
So good, right? We also got our one of our trademarks came through, which has taken like years for us to get. And it's really, really cool because look what they send you. It's like a United States of America, like trademark office, like unstoppable success.
Wow.
Isn't that so cool?
Amazing.
Like we'd always had the UK one, but then a couple of years ago, we like went to get the American one. And it just feels so good to have everything like fully like bulletproofed in your business. It's one of the things I hear come up time and time again for the girls in our masterminds. It's like, what is it that I want to protect? What is it that I want to be a stand for? What is the message that's most important? So there's definitely a lot that goes on behind the scenes in these businesses for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And that's something that comes up actually when people are looking at choosing their podcast name. They'll say, well, can I kind of grab that name? Can I own that? And the answer is no, because that's not how the field works. But if, like Nick, you own your trademark of unstoppable success and you own that for America and you own that for your local country, well, no one else can use it because you've trademarked it. But in terms of the podcast directories and the podcast hosts themselves, there is no one place. It's not like, you know, website domains where you just go, right, I have that, I bought that, and I'll bring that podcast out in 6 months, but I know that's my name. It doesn't work that way. So, yeah, having all of those bits tied up is really important.
There's so much that goes on in these business, so much to take care of. And I think that's one of the things that, like, when you have these like surprise things, it's like, how do you reprioritize and how do you manage to stay in like the enjoyment no matter what's going on in the world. And I think that's one of the things that through positive psychology and through what we teach at Unstoppable Success, like I hear the girls and the ladies in the program say that they're more able to do. So it's a case of like, no matter what's going on in the world around you, how can you drop into that 5-step system that I shared earlier, where you drop into a place of gratitude and you get intentional about what you're creating, and you start to really live from that place of commitment to your vision and your mission, and being able to teach so many people from the places that you feel scared and stretched.
Yeah, and I think that for those of you who just joined us, who weren't here 2 hours ago when we launched Nick's podcast, we didn't know this was going to go live today. We thought we were going to be launching it Monday or Tuesday next week, but we had that opportunity to just go for it, and so here we are. And so Nick kind of has had very short notice to get her hair done, get herself ready to be live for as long as possible today to get all of your support. So if you guys are watching this and you haven't gone and supported Nick, go and do it. So let's talk through the giveaway that you've got going on, because it is epic.
So it is an epic giveaway, and I'm so excited because it's the first giveaway that I've ever done. And it's literally, we're giving away more than $1,000 worth of kit. So we're giving away an iPad, a Blue Yeti mic, we're giving away Bose noise cancelling headphones, and 5 $100 Amazon vouchers. So, and as well as that, for every single person that enters the giveaway, whether you win the top prize or one of those 5 runner-up prizes, every single person is going to be gifted with our Unstoppable Success bundle. And in there, there's checklists, there's rituals, there's high converting launch templates, all of these things. So we wanted to thank you for supporting us, and also thank you for helping us help more people. So when you go and review, what happens is people will read the reviews, they'll look at how much you love the podcast, and then they're more likely to listen to. And I just know how much this work is needed in our world. Like, I want to equip more entrepreneurs with the tools to create unstoppable success. So I appreciate you helping me help more people. The link's also in the chat, so it's on the screen as well. So you can head to that giveaway link, and what it's going to ask you to do, it's going to ask you to go and review the podcast on Apple, and then screenshot your review, and then go back to that giveaway page and plug in your name and your email and your screenshot, and that gets you an entry into the giveaway.
I was saying to my husband, "Oh, Nick's doing an amazing giveaway," and he's like, "Can I enter? I really want
you can. Definitely, tell him he can enter."
I was like, "Don't use our surname. Don't use our surname."
I love it.
It will feel like a fix.
I can't wait to see them coming through. I know you said it takes like a couple of days.
Yeah, well, yeah, it can take a couple of days. That's one of the great reasons why if people go and support you, you'll get them even quicker, which is nice. So it's all good.
I appreciate you being here with me as well, Anna. I know you've taken like time out of your Friday night.
Pleasure. My son all day begs me because it's the Easter holidays at the moment. Mum, as soon as you're off the internet tonight, as soon as you're not doing any lives, I'm going live. I'm going to be playing Fortnite, but I've got priority for streaming. And then when I said to him, "Well, actually, I'm really sorry, but as of 5 o'clock, I'm going to be on a live stream," he was like, "How long? 20 minutes?" And I said, no, it's going to be for as long as Nick needs me, up to 3 hours. I was totally in the doghouse. But it's okay. Fortnite is working. So
good. I'm glad. Grateful for the internet connection. Super grateful.
It really was in the doghouse.
That's amazing. And we're actually going to be going live, or I'm going to be going live every day for the next few days as well. So bringing you some amazing teachings from digital marketing, from positive psychology to help and support you guys. Being here in the celebration, inviting any questions that you guys have got as well. Bringing a few of you guys up onto the stream to be here and hang out and share who you are and what you do and really celebrate you. We've got some of my friends that I'm gonna hopefully shuffle them around from expecting that this was going to go live next week to, okay guys, it's actually now. So bringing some of my amazing friends and some people who you'll know as well into the lives to support you guys as well. Yeah, so amazing. All good, exciting stuff happening.
So you have a film crew coming to your house later. Tell us a little bit about what you're up to there.
So we've got 2 documentaries that we're creating at the minute. One of them we filmed in January. So we basically looked at my story. So my journey within creating unstoppable success. We looked at the journey and the stories of our clients. And then we also looked at the journey and the story of the coaching industry. So that initial documentary, it's a short film, so it's probably about 45 minutes. And it walks through these 3 different stories to give a real showcase of what it is that's happening in this industry and how powerful coaching is. It's one of the fastest growing industries. And I wanted to create something that's really different from what I've done before. So leaning into this year, like my intention is very much been to like lean into leadership. And I know that's a really overused word, but at the start of the year, I always set out like my big 3 intentions and then the word for the year. And leadership for me means leaning into newness and creative pursuits to create something that hasn't been here before. So we've got the 2 documentaries that are coming up. We've got the Positive Psychology Coach certification launch. Amazing. We've got a new book that I'm writing. We've got the podcast launch. We've got our brand new quiz that's been released. So this year there's a lot of newness and it feels really good. I had a couple of years where I didn't launch anything new because I had a real bad scare with my health. So this year just feels like very expansive and very exciting. There's a ton of stuff going on. So with the documentaries, we've got this first one that we filmed that's now in post-production. And the team have said, like, we want some B-roll of you, like, living your best life. We want to come to your house in Beverly Hills. We want to see behind the scenes.
We want to see you in that cupboard.
I was literally going to say, they're probably not going to want to film inside the closet though. But Ryan laughs at me because he like texts me and he's like, what are you doing? Do you want to go for some dinner? And I'll be like, I'm just in the cupboard. I'm just recording. He's like, God, you said that to me so many times. So they're going to come over and they're going to do some like me with my laptop or me just doing the things that I would do in my day. Like I have in this office room, I have like my infrared mat right here, which helps reduce inflammation. It helps with like negative ions in your body. It puts like a PEMF frequency into your body to either help lift your energy or to help you go to sleep at night or help you in meditation. So I'm going to be showing some of the behind the scenes things and elements of how I do things in the documentary. And that one's going to be ready in the next couple of weeks. So that like they've done a rough cut, they're now onto the polished cut, and then they're going to do a final. And then once I do the final, I can like take a look, and if there's anything that I still want to change, I can change it. And then there's another one that's coming out later in the year, which is more broadly focused. It's more like reality TV. So the one that I've done right now has got these 3 story arcs. So it's got my story, client story, coach and industry story. The other one that we're doing is much more going to be like, here's the daily life of a coach and here's the mad shit that goes on. And then like, here's a plant medicine ceremony or like just like random, like real life. And that's the one that's going to go out across Amazon video.
So how did you get involved with that? That sounds like a big project.
I got invited. So one of the things that I've learned from my human design, I'm a projector. Do you know what you are?
I don't know. I've never done it.
Oh my goodness, you have to go and do it. So I'm a projector and I'm not I'm not supposed to work hard in this lifetime. So
okay.
Kind of
but you always say, what's one of your phrases? Basic bitch.
Basic bitch, yeah. So I'm supposed to just like like do the things that feel really good for me, that feel like light me up, and I can teach and I can kind of demonstrate from that place. I'm not supposed to go out there and look for things that I can do. I'm supposed for other people to say, Nick, I'd love for you to do this. I'd love for you to come on this podcast. Or Nick, I'd love to invite you to do this documentary. So when I get those like amazing invitations, I'm like a hell yes for them. So they said, we've been like looking at what you do, like we really want to collaborate on this thing. And I had been wanting to do a documentary for a while. It's one of the things that Brendan, my coach, had suggested that I do. So I'd wanted to do it a couple of years ago, but then with my health challenges, I hadn't got round to it. And at the time, I remember putting so much pressure on myself, and I'd like sit in Brendan's office and I'm like, but I'm like not doing enough, or I'm not going fast enough. And he's like, Nick, you've got so much time. So he gave me a lot of peace and relief with not having to do everything as fast as possible. And now actually coming back to this project 2 years later, I just know that it's going to be even better than it would have been if we'd done it back then.
That's really interesting, isn't it? Because your book, your message is now is your time. But sometimes in that push for it all to be your time right now, you're not actually allowing things to happen in a natural time. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Something I struggle with a lot. I wanted it all yesterday.
And also like saying yes to everything. And I know that like we've had conversations around this, around like how many things do you need to be doing? And actually, could you do less and double down on those things and have more success and more enjoyment too? So I feel like that has been a big learning for me around, you don't have to do 20 million different things. You can actually just do a few things and like drop into them and have like more enjoyment in them too.
Yeah.
So good.
In enjoying this launch, that's going to be quite full on for you for the next week, how will you know that this has been successful?
I'm really excited to hear the feedback. I mean, I'm so nervous, and my shakes have stopped now. I was shaking when I first got on this, but my shakes have stopped, but I am still super nervous. Like, I want this to land for you guys. Like, I want you guys to get amazing tools and tactics and ideas that you can go and implement. So I'm super excited to read the reviews and to get all of that feedback. For me, the success comes through helping people. So if I know that I'm able to help people through the podcast, then it really fuels my mission and motivation to continue to do more, because this, like we've both shared, is not like a one-time thing. It's not just do this launch today and then peace out and go back to doing everything else. It's like, this is a commitment. Like this is a marriage. You and I are married, Anna. Like, we're working together over the long term.
They're our worst partners to have.
Probably. It's like, it's
I haven't explained that to my husband yet.
I know.
After he wins the iPad.
Yes, we'll have to give him the iPad now.
But I think that's an important thing, is that it's shiny object syndrome. You want to be great on Instagram, you want to be great on LinkedIn, you want to be great on YouTube, you want to do reels. With podcasting, the way that it really works, yes, we're going to give you an epic launch in the next week. That's happening. But the thing that really counts is showing up and keeping on going. If someone, stops after 15 episodes, what was actually the point of them doing that? Why did they put that energy in them? And for me, there's a disconnect with the purpose behind it. They're not seeing results quick enough. And actually the result is through the growth and expansion that happens when your message ripples out across the world, touching one person's life at a time. So it's actually no mean feat to, 2-3 years down the line, still have your podcast up there. But that's when the results come. And I think particularly in the UK, we've been a bit more behind many of those over in the States with podcasting. And in fact, our listenership is only just starting to reach what it is in the US in terms of percentages. But the people who've now been doing it a couple of years or 18 months are seeing astonishing growth in their businesses compared with those who dipped their toe in the water and then gave up. because, like, to put this in context, there's now nearly a third of the world listening to podcasts every single week.
Wow.
That's nuts. It's actually higher than that in places like Korea. But the US is now a third of the country.
Wow.
In the UK, it's between a quarter and a third. There was a stat that actually, there's something I do want to share with your audience while we're here. One of the reasons that podcasting is great for creating that unstoppable success feel is that it has the highest rate of people taking action as a result of something that a host or a guest talks about than any other medium. So to put the statistics at the moment that were released is that 81% of podcast listeners take action with intent to purchase as a result of listening to something that was mentioned on a podcast. Wow. And that's something that was mentioned on a podcast that doesn't have to be advertised or sponsored or anything like that. That's a book, that's a course, that's an offer, that's a YouTube video to check out. But people are going and taking action because they really, really trust the person they're listening to, because they've listened to them a lot. They feel like you're part of their world. And that's it. It's astonishing. And when I share that stat, I kind of want to put that in context. So it used to be in the old kind of everybody listening to the radio in the car every day, because that's how you got your news. At that point, it was something like 26% of radio listeners, if they reached the right audience, would then follow up. That's why radio commercials used to be so popular, no matter how terrible the jingle was. But that was where the biggest kind of marketing spends were really happening. It got better results than TV. Wow. Whereas now, podcasting gets better marketing results for anything than television. So that's why people want to podcast. And that's why podcast hosts become really powerful.
I've bought many things from podcasts. Mm-hmm. I've literally listened, whether it's been like the ads or whether it's been someone like talking about something. I've then gone and found the thing and either bought something or like opted in for the thing that they're sharing. So I definitely resonate with that. I think it's just an amazing tool. Like you guys who are like watching or listening right now, you can just have this on in the background and you can just, it feels like you're together. You know, like having been apart for so long, it literally feels just like conversations with friends, which is so good.
And I think the other thing is that we all know that video is huge. It's huge on Facebook, LinkedIn, IGTV, you know, and YouTube. No, it's huge. It's not going anywhere. But on average, people are only listening to 10 to 25% of a video, no matter how long it is, no matter how much they love it. That on average. But on podcasts, people are listening to 80 to 100% of the content.
Wow.
So, and if someone's listened to 80% of an episode, they pretty much intend to stay to the end. Normally people stop listening because the walk's finished, the drive is finished, the train journey in the old days when we used to leave home, that's finished. But the intent has been to complete that experience. Whereas on video, we're so accustomed to scrolling. If you look at listener and watcher behavior, video, you're getting ready to move on. Whereas a podcast, you put it on and you're planning to listen. You're planning to let it play through.
It's all psychology, isn't it?
Yeah.
All psychology.
Bias psychology.
Amazing. Oh my goodness. I'm just going to repost this giveaway link as well and make sure you guys have all got this, because we're running this epic giveaway for the podcast launch today. So what we're asking you to do is share your reviews with us. So go and review on Apple and then come back to the giveaway page and plug in your review in there and you'll be entered into the giveaway. Super cool.
It's so cool to see what this is going to do. Even by Monday morning, this show will have just gone right up. It's very cool.
Woo! I'm such a child. I get so excited.
Well, I always feel like every time that we're launching a show, I literally feel like we are rising up the charts on the top 40.
Yes.
You know, I kind of throw myself in at the deep end with whoever we're launching.
So
and it's just such a, you know, so we've launched shows for people who don't have audiences, who aren't connected on social media. Maybe they've got, a few hundred friends. Maybe they've not really built a page. They don't really do a lot on Instagram. And because of the nature of this unique platform and knowing how to launch and get all the things together, and actually encouraging people to push their own boundaries with that visibility piece and reaching out to friends, connections, followers, their audience to say, please, like, this matters to me. It's astonishing that we can have people who have no audience, but by following the right strategy, we can then have them charting in 30 countries. We can have them, getting clients that they would never have access to in any other way. And that happens quite quickly when they get it right. It's very cool.
So cool. And when they've got this neon lime green to stand out.
When they've got this neon lime green.
I literally love it. It makes me feel so good. Like when I'm wearing this neon color, or when I like see this imagery, it just like totally stands out. I think it's like a really good vibe.
It's very good. What do you guys think? Let us know. Let Nick know. What do you think?
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
A slight zesty twist. There we are. That's what I'm going to call it. A zesty twist to your usual branding.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. It feels really, really good. It feels unstoppable, which is super fun. And then some of the topics that we've got coming up, you guys, like I've been talking about on the podcast, I know the how to create 10K episode is up, the trailer episode is up, how to price your coaching services, that episode is up on the podcast. I'm also going to be talking about things like how to do 6-figure launches, how to make money using positive psychology, and anything else you want me to talk about. I'd love your feedback. I'd love to know, like, what are you guys struggling with right now? Or what results do you want to create in your life and business? Because the more I know about what you've got going on, the easier it is for me to go and record an episode for you that answers that question. It's super cool. Like, you've got your own coach here. I'm going to be
Nick is your coach in your pocket.
So good. So good. Oh, amazing. Well, guys, I feel like, oh God, we've been here for 2 hours. So good. So much fun. That's literally flown by.
Right. And so many people are going to want to support you. It's amazing.
I know I've seen all of the messages coming in, which is really, really cool. Really, I feel like I'm doing like my book launch all over again.
Book launch with a twist. It's not in person.
Yeah. But
you can reach way more people.
That's the thing with books and podcasts. It's like you think about a book is like on your coffee table, or a podcast is in your kitchen, and it's in your daily life. There's such powerful tools to be able to help people create change.
Yeah.
So good. Well, I'm going to be coming back tomorrow, guys, and I'll share with you tomorrow some of the exciting guests that we've got coming in. But we're going to have some more guests diving into the live stream with us, and we're going to be coaching and answering some questions and going through some more teaching and tools for you. But before then, what I would love for you to do, like, I'm asking for your help today. Like I say, I've stopped shaking now, but this is definitely a nerve-wracking experience to launch the podcast. And I'd love for you to go and listen, go leave a review, and then send me the review, and we'll enter it into the prize draw. So we're giving away an iPad, Bose noise cancelling headphones. We're giving away Blue Yeti mic, and 5 $100 Amazon vouchers as well. So super thrilled for that. So we can go through, and let me just post the link in here one more time for you. Oh, amazing. And then I'm going to be coming back and going live with you across the weekend, and again on Monday as well.
Well, congratulations, Nick. It's really exciting.
Thank you. Thanks for being here, Anna. You're literally the best. It's been so good hanging with you all for the last couple of hours. Super fun and big surprise. So I'm just glad that we've got on here, and super grateful for all of your support. I've loved seeing all of your messages come in. So thank you. And you can enjoy listening to the show now. Just make sure you listen, you play it all the way through, listen to all of the episodes on there, and then leave your feedback as well. Thank you so much, guys.